Hello.
Host has stopped my video. Unmute है मेरा. I am unmuted. Can you hear me?
Hello. Hi, everyone. Can you hear us?
I can, but I cannot start my video. You blocked my video. So
Could you try now, Rishi? I think it should work now.
yeah.
Jay, can you start your video?
No, even I can't. Yeah, it's working now. Yeah.
It's working, right?
Mine isn't, Jay. It's written that you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Okay, let me just quickly figure this out.
Sure, thanks.
Can you try it now?
No, not working.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, done.
Shraddha is not working for me now.
Oh, okay. I think there's some issue.
You made me the host, so mine is working. Now you made
Yeah,
JP the host, so I think his will also work.
yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
just try to switch once. Make me
Yeah,
host.
I think
Yeah.
it will work now. Are you able to do it, Jay? Yeah, perfect. You're on mute.
Yeah, Shraddha, thanks. It's working fine. So I think we can start now. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, hi everyone, and apologies for the delay. So we'll quickly get started. So we have Jai and Rishi with here today. So Rishi comes with over 25 years of experience across the financial services domain, from equity, commodity, currency, and insurance broking, financial planning, training, wealth and portfolio management to the exchange business. And we have Jai with us today, who has over 18 years of experience in the securities market, and he's the founder and CEO at Dhan. So over to you now, Jay.
Yeah, thank you, Shraddha. And welcome, Rishi. So for in this one of its kind webinar which we're trying to do, right?
Thanks, JP. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Rishi. So before we, get into the nitty-gritties of this webinar, I'd just like to, give a context to our listeners. See, in last 3 years, right, what we have seen on commodities market has been, phenomenal. The things have been, unprecedented, because India predominantly is a commodity-driven economy. We had seen an under penetration of commodities participation in India, but what started in 2019, there has been a paradigm shift to it. आज आप देखो commodities में volume नहीं होता था. There used to be only one kind of product on the exchange traded side, which used to be futures. So over last 3 years, there have been a lot of products which have been brought into by the regulator, and also exchanges have become very proactive in ensuring that those products are, they provide liquidity to the instrument, and there is enough of participation happening. This is on the exchange side. But what has happened on the commodities market as such in last 3 years is again something which was very unprecedented. We have seen crude oil prices going negative. Then crude oil prices become lifetime. It hit almost multi-year highs. It was trading at around $120. Same thing हम लोगों ने देखा base metals में. Gold prices hit lifetime high in Indian markets. Silver prices went up. So for any market participant, it becomes very very important कि आपको commodities market का समझ होना चाहिए. Because when you execute or initiate your trades in equities market, you have to understand कि आपका 80% आपका equity या stock का underlying commodities होता है. So if you understand commodities market well, it helps you in becoming a better investor and trader. So we thought that, why not take this initiative and make commodities participation, or rather increase the commodities participation by spreading awareness about commodities, how commodities market actually work, and how it can benefit you in terms of your investing and trading journey. So with that intention in mind, we thought that we will start a series of webinars, and we will be doing this every week along with MCX, where we will be taking up questions from traders about about their queries with relation to commodities, or if they want to get any insight on the commodities market. So Rishi, let's take this journey ahead. And so before I put on questions to you, I want to share to our audience that Rishi comes with a multi-asset background. He has been part of equities. He has been part of institutional desk. He has managed businesses for exchanges, and he has seen commodities market grow. Right. So Rishi, over to you now.
Thanks, Jay, and thanks for having me here. And it's always a pleasure to talk to people about commodity markets and how we see the growth in these markets and how we can increase participation in these markets. So, Jay, you've also been around in the markets for a long time. You've seen so many market cycles and for both equities and commodities. So, what is your sense of, with new products, participants coming out, the current scenario, as well as, what are the opportunities in these markets? Would you like to share?
Yeah, well, Rishi, I'll use Hindi and English both for the
Sure.
interest of our audience, right? See, when we started our career, right, commodities market in terms of exchange traded commodities was at a very nascent stage. काफी हम लोगों ने उस समय पुश किया कि there has to be more products coming, and it gradually happened, but now it has started happening, right? So when we started, the commodities market was at a very nascent stage, as I told, right? So over a period of time, the things have changed. Now with the introduction of more products, now you have better trading opportunities, which you can always use commodities as a tool for trading. Earlier, there has to be a perception that there is only a single product available, so इसमें कुछ हो नहीं सकता है. And that's why there was no serious participation which was coming in. Now over this few years, we have seen the kind of volumes which have gone up. You can throw a better light on it. The volumes which used to happen 3 years back, now the volume scenarios have changed already. And second most important thing which I see here is, if you understand equities or if you understand commodities as well, right? What generally happens for you is आपका जो asset underlying होता है वो अगर commodities है, and if you start understanding that market well, you will be able to take a lot of good bets even in your equity investing. Just to take an example, when crude oil became $100, right? You pretty well knew कि आपका बाकी stock performance खराब होने वाला है because crude is an underlying or input or raw material for host of industries. So if you had understood that there is also an instrument to trade in commodities, you could have taken advantage of it. It also would have helped you in hedging your positions, right? So अगर base metal का prices ऊपर जा रहा है, तो आप अगर आपका position कोई metal stock में है, तो you can always create a hedge with commodities. So, these instruments were not available, say 10 years back. For a retail participation to come and only to trade in futures was asking too much from them. Now with this retail participation going up, options may interest aa raha hai. So this is definitely a beginning of a, larger penetration of commodities, I would say, on the retail side. Market ye bahut grow hone wala hai.
True, and just to add to what you said, see, commodities are the basis for economic activity. तो यदि हम चाहते हैं कि हमारा $5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी हो, तो कमोडिटीज के बिना तो हो नहीं सकता. जैसे मैकिन्सी की भी एक रिपोर्ट थी, उसमें भी कमोडिटीज का इम्पोर्टेंस काफी शेयर किया गया था. एंड मेरा बोलने का मतलब ये है कि कमोडिटीज हमारे चारों तरफ है. Whatever we see, we eat, we wear, we are sitting, everything is commodities. It is an integral part of our life and an inseparable part of our life. And it is the basis of all economic activity. So in case you want to be a good stock market investor also, as you said, Jay, it is very important to understand the commodities markets because the underlying for anything is commodities. And if commodities can be understood, you can understand the inputs for every manufacturing industry, and therefore, and of course, crude is the universal input for transportation or whatever. So, you can understand where the economy might go. So in that sense, it is very important. And also that commodities and equities are counter-cyclical to each other in the long run. So जब equities में जो return नहीं मिलता तो commodities में मिलता है. कई टाइम होता है जो दोनों में मिलता है. So if you can understand these cycles, if you understand these markets, it is quite beneficial that you can make decent money. And when you said एक ही product था, I understand you're talking about futures. अब तो options भी आ गए, index futures भी आ गए. And options में भी काफी फायदा होता है, स्पेशली रिटेल को, क्योंकि उसका आउटले कम रहता है और रिस्क भी कम रहता है, क्योंकि खाली प्रीमियम तक का ही लॉस है. बियॉन्ड दैट तो कोई लॉस होता नहीं है, तो उसमें आदमी कम कैपिटल में भी उसका एक आउटले रख के एक मल्टीपल रिटर्न खोज सकता है। मिले नहीं मिले वो उसके नसीब पे, उसके एनालिसिस पे, बट एटलीस्ट दैट अपॉर्चुनिटी इज देयर।
नो, आई एग्री ऋषि। अभी देखिए, हम लोग कल एक बहुत बड़ा अनाउंसमेंट आया, राइट? एफपीआईज आर नाउ अलाउड इन कमोडिटीज। सो बहुत इसमें सीरियस पार्टिसिपेशन आएगा मार्केट में, सो दैट्स अगेन अ गुड साइन। सो ऋषि, बिफोर वी गेट इनटू क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर्स फ्रॉम द ऑडियंस, एक चीज पूछना था। सी, ऑप्शंस आया, एआईएफ्स को अलाउ इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए, नाउ म्यूचुअल फंड्स आर आल्सो अलाउड, नाउ एफपीआईज आर अलाउड। आप लोग कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स, अच्छे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स लेके आ रहे हो। सो जस्ट एज अ, इफ यू वुड लाइक टू शेयर कि कुछ महीनों में और क्या एक्सपेक्टेड है इन दिस मार्केट साइड, इफ यू कैन।
देखिए, हम तो कॉन्स्टेंटली इनोवेट करने की चेष्टा करते रहते हैं, एंड वी ट्राई टू ब्रिंग मोर एंड मोर प्रोडक्ट्स इन द मार्केट, एंड द रेगुलेटर अप्रूविंग मोर पार्टिसिपेंट्स, दिस मार्केट कैन ओनली ग्रो. See, we have seen an inverted cycle for commodities in terms of participation, because कोई भी नॉर्मल मार्केट होता है तो वहां पहले इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टर्स आते हैं, बाद में रिटेल आते हैं, बट बिकॉज ऑफ हिस्टोरिकल रीजंस यहाँ पे पहले इंडिविजुअल्स आए और कॉर्पोरेट्स आए, अब इंस्टीट्यूशंस अब आ रहे हैं. तो मार्केट को मैच्योर होने के लिए इंस्टीट्यूशनल पार्टिसिपेशन बहुत जरूरी होता है, एंड अब वो देख रहे हैं. तो एज मोर एंड मोर इंस्टीट्यूशनल पार्टिसिपेंट्स कम, the market's depth and liquidity will increase, and therefore volumes will increase. And like you said, मैं वही एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि 1920 फाइनेंशियल ईयर में हमारा ऑप्शन टर्नओवर डेली का 900 करोड़ था, 2021 में 8000 करोड़ था, 21-22 में 25,000 करोड़ के ऊपर है. तो हर साल अगर आप देखें तो मल्टीपल ग्रोथ हो रहा है. एंड this is a tipping point after which you see an explosion in terms of participation volumes, etc. So that's what we are also seeing, and I'm sure that going forward these numbers will seem trivial if you look at them a couple of years down that down the road.
यस, आई एग्री। और एक चीज और है ना कि अगर अब आज मार्केट जितना अनसर्टेन है, मार्केट इज वोलेटाइल, इट्स ऑलवेज वाइज टू हैव अ डाइवर्सिफिकेशन इन योर पोर्टफोलियो, राइट? चाहे आप आज इक्विटीज में ट्रेड कर रहे हो, यू हैव सर्टेन portfolios which you want to diversify. Gold and silver becomes a very good opportunity for you. So it's always advisable, right, कि अगर आपका पोर्टफोलियो जितना डाइवर्सिफाइड रहता है इन अनसर्टेन टाइम्स, आपका रिटर्न उतना बेहतर रहता है, और एटलीस्ट नहीं तो आप ड्रॉ डाउन को कम से कम कर्टेल कर सकते हो।
उसके अलावा एक और बेनिफिट है डाइवर्सिफिकेशन, तो आपने भी बोला, मैंने भी बताया, और एक काउंटर सिक्लिकलिटी की बात की।
करेक्ट।
इक्विटीज और बॉन्ड से कमोडिटीज काउंटर सिक्लिकल है, बट एक और चीज है, इंटरनेशनली रेफरेंस्ड कमोडिटीज में जब आप इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो आपको करेंसी का इनबिल्ट फ्री हेज मिल जाता है. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल सोना अगर 1700 था तो 1700 ये इंटरनेशनली, बट रुपया अगर 78 से 81 हो गया तो आपको यहाँ पे डोमेस्टिकली सोने का भाव बढ़ जाता है, तो आपको $1 हेज मिल जाता है फ्री में. इसके अलावा कमोडिटीज में एक इनबिल्ट इन्फ्लेशन हेज भी है. तो अगर महंगाई बढ़ रही है और आपने कमोडिटीज में इन्वेस्ट कर रखा है तो एटलीस्ट यू नो दैट यू आर कवर्ड फॉर इन्फ्लेशन टू लार्ज एक्सटेंट.
यस यस, आई एग्री. सो आई थिंक
प्रश्न उत्तर की ओर.
हाँ जी,
प्रश्न उत्तर की ओर चलें.
Yes, yeah. So I think Shraddha, if you can open the floor for Q&A.
Yes, perfect. So
Yeah.
we will take questions here as well, and we have some questions coming up on YouTube live as well. So I'll start sharing that one by one. We'll just wait for 2 minutes for everyone to start sharing their questions. Okay, so we have first question from Mr. Kalpesh, and he's asking that what was the impact in commodity market after the after RBI increased the repo rate?
You want to take that, Jay, or you want me to take it? आप म्यूट पे जाए.
हाँ, सो कल्पेश, देखिए क्या है, आरबीआई का जो रेट इंक्रीज हुआ है, इससे देयर इज अ पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट ऑन रूपी. क्योंकि आज आप देखिए कि एनी कंट्री जिसका इंटरेस्ट रेट अच्छा हायर रहता है, उसका रूपी बेटर परफॉर्म करता है. सो आज आपने करेंसी में देखा है एक स्ट्रेंथ लौटा है. सो करेंसी में स्ट्रेंथ आने के कारण क्या है कि इन डोमेस्टिक मार्केट्स लॉट ऑफ कमोडिटीज का प्राइस पे प्रेशर आएगा. ओके, अगेन आप देखो कि बिकॉज ऑफ हाइक इन इंटरेस्ट रेट, by RBI, you will see that lot of base metal जो price trade कर रहे थे वो शायद नीचे trade करें, and gold and silver will go up. So you'd like to add something, Rishi, here?
No, fine, perfectly explained.
Yeah. So Shraddha, you can. I hope it answers your question, Mr. Kalpesh.
So there's another question. So this gentleman is asking that he's been in equities for more than 2 years now, but he has no knowledge of how to trade commodities. So how can someone who's a beginner start trading commodities?
Okay. So Rishi, you want to take it or should I?
आप सबको लाते हैं मार्केट में, आप लीजिए.
So देखिए क्या है, commodities में सबसे basic start करने का है, तो you should start with something which you understand well. So for any Indian, the very basic commodity which you understand is gold and silver, and there are many contracts available. Gold में आप देखें तो gold Guinea available है जो 8 grams का contract है. Even there is gold petal which is 1 gram contract. So आप उससे शुरू कीजिए, then you start understanding कि data आता है उसका impact कैसे होता है, and उसके बाद आप ग्रेजुएट कीजिए ऑप्शंस पे. आपको गोल्ड मिनी के ऑप्शंस मिलेंगे, सिल्वर मिनी के ऑप्शंस मिलेंगे. सो वंस यू गेट यूज्ड टू इट, देन प्रोबेबली यू कैन इंक्रीज योर कैपिटल, यू कैन इंक्रीज योर मार्केट साइज, आई थिंक कैपिटल एलोकेशन. फिर आप बेस मेटल्स और क्रूड और एनजी में जा सकते हैं. तो टू अंडरस्टैंड द वेरी बेसिक कमोडिटी टू स्टार्ट विद गोल्ड एंड सिल्वर है, आप उससे शुरू कीजिए. और वो बहुत इजी है ट्रैक करना, बिकॉज इट्स मोर और लेस डिमांड सप्लाई ड्रिवन. आपको पता है आज इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ रहा है, तो उसका अगर इम्पैक्ट आएगा तो गोल्ड प्राइस पे आएगा. अगर कोई अनसर्टेनिटी है इकोनॉमी में तो गोल्ड एंड सिल्वर प्राइसेस विल गो अप. तो आप कोरिलेट कर सकते हो.
हाँ अजय, मैं ऐड करना चाहता हूँ. देखिए आज के दिन भारत में अगर मैं कोई को रोक के कोई स्टॉक के बारे में पूछूं रास्ते में, तो हो सकता बता पाए, हो सकता नहीं बता पाए.
करेक्ट.
जियो पॉलिटिक्स की सबको रुचि रहती है और हर आदमी गोल्ड सिल्वर क्रूड ये सब के बारे में बात कर सकता है, टू लार्ज एक्सटेंट नॉलेज रखता है. तो उसको खाली नॉलेज को बढ़ाना है. जैसे मैंने कहा, आप कमोडिटीज आपके चारों तरफ है, आप रोज उसका सेवन कर रहे हैं, आप यू यूजिंग कमोडिटीज, यू आर कंज्यूमिंग कमोडिटीज. सो इट्स वेरी इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड कमोडिटीज. कोई रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. प्लस क्या है कि कमोडिटीज के लिए रिसोर्सेज बहुत ज्यादा अवेलेबल है, जो क्योंकि ग्लोबली ट्रेड होते हैं. जैसे गोल्ड है या क्रूड है, ये सब ग्लोबली ट्रेड होते हैं. तो ऑनलाइन आपको बहुत रिसोर्सेज मिल जाएंगे जो आप स्टडी करके कर सकते हैं और अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हैं.
Yeah.
So another question is from Mr. Yuvraj. He's asking what is the minimum amount required to trade commodities?
देखिए मार्जिन जो है वो कमोडिटी टू कमोडिटी डिपेंड करता है. जैसे जो छोटे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स हैं, जैसे गोल्ड पेटल है. अब गोल्ड पेटल लगभग 5,000 रुपए का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है. उसमें अगर आप 11-12% मार्जिन ले तो आपको 600 रुपए करीब मार्जिन ही लगता है. उसमें कोई ज्यादा मार्जिन है नहीं. तो सॉरी, हाँ 600 ही हुआ ना. हाँ, तो ज्यादा मार्जिन है नहीं. वैसे अगर आप गोल्ड लार्ज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ले तो 50 लाख रुपए का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, तो उसमें आपके मार्जिन ही हो जाता है 5-6 लाख रुपए. तो डिपेंड करता है कि आप किस कमोडिटी को ट्रेड कर रहे हैं. तो क्रूड है जैसे 6,500 रुपए का भाव है, 100 बैरल का है, तो 6.5 लाख का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, 30% मार्जिन, लगभग 2 लाख रुपए मार्जिन होता है. तो हर कमोडिटी के अलग अलग मार्जिन है. अगर आप फ्यूचर्स ट्रेड करना चाहते हैं, और अगर आप ऑप्शंस ट्रेड करना चाहते हैं, तो जो भी प्रीमियम ट्रेड होता है, व्हाटएवर द प्रीमियम इज कोटिंग, अकॉर्डिंगली यू कैन बाय द ऑप्शन, वेदर कॉल और पुट, डिपेंडिंग वेदर यू आर बुलिश और बेरिश ऑन दैट कमोडिटी.
या जस्ट टू ऐड, आपका मिनिमम 5,000 से लेके आप 5 लाख 6 लाख तक, डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर एपेटाइट एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, यू कैन ऑलवेज इनिशिएट योर पोजीशंस.
So we have another question from Mr. Shyam. So he's asking, why crude margin required is over 30%? Isn't it a bit on the higher side relative to equity index derivatives and even bullion derivatives?
See, margins are a function of volatility and value at risk. क्रूड में और नेचुरल गैस में जितनी वॉलेटिलिटी है, उतनी वॉलेटिलिटी आपको कोई चीज में जल्दी से दिखती नहीं है. गोल्ड एंड सिल्वर आर मोर रिलेटिवली स्टेबल कंपेयर्ड टू क्रूड एंड नेचुरल गैस. उसमें उतना मूवमेंट नहीं होता है. क्रूड नेचुरल गैस में एक दिन में 10-10% का मूवमेंट हो जाता है. तो इस कारण से ही वी हैव केप्ट the margin. So it is not that we decide ad hoc कि हम darts फेंक के decide करते हैं आज 30 पे land किया तो 30 कर देंगे, कल 20 पे land किया 20 कर देंगे. It is all a systematic process by which the margin is calculated, and it is all depending on the volatility and value at risk. So for commodities which are less volatile like gold and silver, the margins are lower. For commodities which are more volatile, the margins are higher.
सो जस्ट टू ऐड ऋषि, इसमें सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट है जो इक्विटीज में होता है. आप देखते हो निफ्टी में बहुत ज्यादा मूवमेंट है तो उसमें मार्जिन बढ़ जाता है, या बैंक निफ्टी में अगर वोलेटिलिटी बहुत ज्यादा है तो स्पैन प्लस ईएलएम बढ़ जाता है. सेम थिंग कमोडिटीज में साइड में अगर क्रूड में देखें तो द प्राइस मूवमेंट हैज बीन बहुत एक्सट्रीम, नेगेटिव प्राइसिंग से $120. सो देर इज अ मोर रिस्क इन्वॉल्व, इसलिए देर इज हायर मार्जिन. Yeah, Shraddha, we can take up next question.
Yeah. So the next question is, when can we expect weekly options in energy segment, crude oil and natural gas weekly options specifically, and Wednesday options expiry for crude and Thursday expiry for natural gas options?
ऋषि, आपके लिए डिमांड आ रहा है.
देखिए, as per the SCRA, weekly contracts are not allowed less than 11 days or forward contracts. So however, so weekly may not be permissible. However, we are looking at whatever we can do to shorten the duration of the contracts. And depending on the regulatory approvals, we are also looking to launch more variants of our contracts so that, I understand that because Nifty, Bank Nifty have been very popular on the weekly, so people are demanding for crude and natural gas also. So we'll definitely look at it, and whatever we can, depending on the situation, we will definitely study and try to get regulatory approval.
Okay, another question from Mr. Raj. So he's asking, what are some of the data points required to do analysis for commodity trading?
So I'll take this. Raj, देखिए, it all depends on which commodity you want to track. Suppose you want to track gold and silver. So few data points which you need to look at is every first Friday of the month, you get a data which is on non-farm payroll. Unemployment rate आता है US में. Okay, so अभी ये 7th को आएगा. So that gives a clarity कि आज यहाँ पे unemployment rate US में बढ़ रहा है या कम हो रहा है. अगर हम अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट बढ़ा है तो दैट मीन्स इट्स बैड फॉर द इकोनॉमी और गोल्ड प्राइसेस ऊपर जाएगा. सिमिलरली फॉर एक डेटा है कंज्यूमर कॉन्फिडेंस का. कंज्यूमर कॉन्फिडेंस यूएस में अगर नीचे है तो दैट मीन्स इकोनॉमी के ऊपर बिलीफ कम है लोगों का. दे फील दैट मार्केट में गो डाउन, इसलिए गोल्ड एंड सिल्वर गोज अप. अगर आप क्रूड ऑयल ट्रैक करते हैं, सो देयर इज वीकली इन्वेंट्री विच कम्स ऑन एवरी वेडनेसडे एट 8 PM. So that gives you an indication कि आज क्रूड ऑयल इन्वेंट्री बढ़ रहा है या कम हो रहा है. अगर क्रूड ऑयल इन्वेंट्री नेगेटिव में है तो इट्स अ गुड साइन फॉर क्रूड ऑयल. सो दीज आर ऑल इंडिकेशंस बाय द वे. हाँ, आपको ये मैं नहीं बता रहा हूँ कि ऐसे होगा तो आप ट्रेड कर दो. सेम थिंग गोज फॉर नेचुरल गैस. उसका इन्वेंट्री एवरी थर्सडे को आता है 8 बजे. विंटर में वो टाइम एक्सटेंड हो जाता है, सो इंस्टेड ऑफ 8 PM इट कम्स एट 9 PM. सेम थिंग इफ यू आर ट्रैकिंग बेस मेटल्स, कॉपर, निकल, एल्यूमिनियम, तो आपको देखना है यहाँ पे जो इंडस्ट्रियल डेटा आता है, PMI डेटा आता है, वो किस तरह का है. सो इट्स फेयरली स्ट्रेट एंड सिंपल, राइट, कि अगर डेटा खराब है तो चीज उसका रिएक्शन नेगेटिव होगा, और एंड वाइस वर्सा. एडवांटेज इन कमोडिटीज मार्केट इज ये डिमांड सप्लाई से चलता है. देयर इज नो ऑपरेटर इन्वॉल्व, there is no company's management involved. So आप अगर डेटा आ रहा है, डेटा को सही से आप इंटरप्रेट करोगे तो you can take a good bet and your trades can be highly successful.
So another question from Mr. Anil. What are charges incurred for delivery of commodities? And is GST mandatory for physical delivery?
So Rishi?
Yeah. So GST पे पहले आता हूँ. So for physical delivery, if you don't have GST, then you will not get the credit when you sell it back, right? You will become like an unregistered entity. So this is, for example, gold में आपने delivery ले लिया. So if you take the gold delivery in demat mode and then you want to sell it back and you don't have GST registration, that 3% GST you will lose. जो नॉर्मली आप बाहर भी होता है, अगर आप ज्वेलरी शोरूम में जाके भी आप गोल्ड बार खरीदते हैं, तो आप वापस जब बेचेंगे तो अगर आपको 3% जीएसटी लगाएगा, बट अगर आप गोल्ड उसको वापस देंगे तो 3% जीएसटी आपको रिफंड नहीं मिलेगा. However, if you take out the delivery from the exchange, जैसे आप ज्वेलरी शॉप से भी लेते हैं, तो वो एक्सचेंज में आप वापस बेच नहीं सकते. तो अगर आप फिजिकली उठाते हैं तो आपको कंज्यूम करना होगा या फिजिकल मार्केट में बेचना होगा. आप एक्सचेंज में वापस नहीं बेच सकते. अगर आप एक्सचेंज में डीमैट मोड में लेते हैं तो आप वापस बेच सकते हैं. दूसरा प्रश्न था कि व्हाट इज द चार्जेस फॉर डिलीवरी. सो वी हैव अ स्ट्रक्चर फॉर डिलीवरी चार्जेस एंड द ब्रोकर कैन हेल्प यू विद दैट.
Yeah, we can move to next question.
Okay. So we have another question from Miss Anantha. So she's asking that, to trade in commodities on Dhan, do we need to maintain separate funds for each segment, or the existing funds can be used in all segments? Jay, I can answer that, or you want to
Yeah.
take that up?
Yeah, so I'll take that, Shraddha. So you have, our margins are across segments. So if you have given margin and if you have, once the equity market is closed or आपका margin free है, तो you can use that margin for trading in commodities. With us, there is also an advantage कि जब आप कोई stock pledge भी करते हैं, तो pledge का भी benefit आप MCX में ले सकते हैं.
Okay. So another question from Mr. Arvind. So he's asking, what kind of participation do you expect from FPIs, and will it have sizable impact on the turnover?
So, both से घड़ा भरता है, and every participant and every product that comes adds to the overall market. So FPIs are not a small force to, they are a large force to reckon with, and I'm sure, but they have only been allowed in cash settle contracts as of now, and index uh, uh, contracts. So once they start trading, I'm sure the impact will be palpable, and going forward, as they allowed in more products, I'm sure that you'll see more and more depth and liquidity increase in the market.
We have a question from Mr. Aditya. He's asking that, crude inventory is below estimates this week. So how can it affect the cost, and will the price go down again?
Now, see if the crude inventory, Rishi, are you taking this or
Oh,
should I?
no, please.
Yeah. So देखो क्रूड इन्वेंट्री अगर नेगेटिव आता है ना और इट्स लोअर देन द प्रीवियस वीक, दैट मींस देयर इज शॉर्टेज ऑफ इन्वेंट्री एंड द प्राइस यूजुअली मूव्स अप. अभी यूएस में फ्लोरिडा में देयर इज अ हरिकेन थिंग व्हिच इज एक्सपेक्टेड. वो उतना इम्पैक्ट हुआ नहीं, बट उसके कारण यू मे सी दैट देयर विल बी अ ड्रॉ डाउन इन्वेंट्री और इन्वेंट्री नेगेटिव आएगा. सो दैट्स अगेन अ पॉजिटिव साइन फॉर क्रूड. लेकिन आपको उसके पैरेलली एक और चीज देखना है कि यहाँ पे अगर ग्लोबल स्लो डाउन का बात हो रहा है, यूएस इक्विटीज मार्केट आर गोइंग डाउन, तो यहाँ पे डर हो जाता है कि देयर कुड बी अ रिसेशन एंड द डिमांड मे नॉट इंक्रीज. तो इन दैट केस इवन आफ्टर अ नेगेटिव क्रूड ऑयल इन्वेंट्री यू मे नॉट सी कि प्राइस बहुत ज्यादा मूव होगा. तो आपको ये दो डेटा पैरेलली देखना है. अगर क्रूड ऑयल इन्वेंट्री खराब है तो आपको ये देखना है कि ओवरऑल इक्विटी मार्केट यूएस में कैसा परफॉर्म कर रहा है. अगर वो अच्छा कर रहा है तो ऑब्वियसली इसका पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट आएगा क्रूड.
Another question from Mr. Shyam. So why crude and natural gas options are auto squared off midday and not allowed till end of the day? I mean, we fail to get the full benefit of expiry day theta decay because of this.
Yeah, Rishi, is for you.
No, they don't get auto spread up on the exchange. So you can keep it till expiry day if you want to. It's only that 3 days before expiry, the pre-expiry margin sets in, which is very high. So idea is that closer to expiry, the margins kick in. So if you want to retain the position, you can do so by paying the margins.
Yeah. So I think आपको अपने ब्रोकर से चेक करना चाहिए. यूजुअली यू आर फ्री टू होल्ड योर पोजीशन. आपका अगर मार्जिन शॉर्टेज आता है देन इट्स अ डिफरेंट इशू, बट अगर आपके पास सफिशिएंट मार्जिन है तो आप एक्सपायरी तक पोजीशन होल्ड कर सकते हो. Yeah, next question, Shraddha.
So the next question is how to find max pain in silver options.
Sorry, how to find?
how to find max pain in silver options.
Max pain, what is that?
I don't know.
Okay,
Okay,
we
पता
can.
नहीं वो कुछ और मीन कर रहे होंगे. So can you
Yeah.
just ask him to reframe his question so we can move to the next in the
Yeah.
mean.
Vishal, we'll take up your question if you could just, help us reframe it. Meanwhile, we'll move on to the another question, which is that, while we are talking about commodities, government or some other organization plays a key role in governing the prices. For example, OPEC for crude oil, and there can be manipulations on demand and supply. So how can, retail traders deal with it?
So देखिए, whenever there is a price announcement या supply cut and all, those data are available at any public domain, right? So वहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा hidden नहीं है. See, one thing you can do as a retail participant is जिस दिन भी event होता है, you please avoid trading unless you have a deeper understanding of market. अगर आप beginner हैं तो क्रूड ऑयल इन्वेंट्री के दिन, नेचुरल गैस इन्वेंट्री के दिन, फर्स्ट फ्राइडे ऑफ द मंथ जिस दिन आपका यूएस से डेटा रिलीज होता है, एंड देयर इज अ इकोनॉमी डेटा का कैलेंडर होता है, सो यू कैन ऑलवेज फाइंड दैट. तो उस इवेंट्स वाले दिन अगर आप नए हो मार्केट में तो प्लीज अवॉइड दैट, क्योंकि वोलेटिलिटी हाई रहता है. अदरवाइज आफ्टर इफेक्ट ऑफ एनी डेटा इज नॉट दैट कॉम्प्लिकेटेड टू अंडरस्टैंड. तो उस सिनेरियो में कोई रिटेल पार्टिसिपेशन के साथ nothing wrong can happen unless you are tracking your data in a proper way.
Okay. Another question is, why is there an expiry date difference in future and options of same commodities?
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
See, the commodity options expire before the futures because they devolve into the futures. So, for example, if you take a crude oil contract or a gold contract, when you buy an option and it is in the money, suppose you buy a call option and it is in the money, or buy a put option and it is in the money, and you hold it till expiry, then you will get a futures position once the option contract expires, which is normally few days before the expiry of the futures contract. That is why, because once you have the futures position, then you get an opportunity to square it up. So first you have an opportunity to square up your options position if you want to, but if you want to hold it till expiry and then devolve it into futures, then again you get an opportunity to square up. Because especially in compulsory delivery contracts such as gold and silver, if you don't get that opportunity and that gap is not there, then you'll be saddled with delivery. So once you're suppose you buy say 1 kg gold options by paying a premium of say 30,000 or 40,000, and it's in the money, and you get a futures position, and then you don't square it, and if the expiry date is not before that, and you get saddled with 1 kg delivery, you have to shell out 50 lakhs to take that delivery. So it is not possible for everyone to shell out that kind of money. That is why it is being made in a staggered manner so that people can find an exit without having to take delivery in contracts where they don't want to take delivery.
So we have another question from Mr. Jayesh. He's asking about, today's Mr. Putin's statement, to like come back to negotiation. So what will be the impact on all the commodities?
So say it's a good news for markets. War खत्म होगा तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. So negative impact in the sense क्या होगा कि see the crude oil prices have already corrected. It will be good for the economy because everything will be streamlined. So that's how we don't want to get into any specific recommendations here. But broadly, if the war ends, it's overall good for everyone, and that benefit on commodities also can be reflected. Generally broad आपको ये track करना है कि see, whenever there is a stable scenario, you will find gold and silver prices don't go up. Okay, whenever there is a stable scenario, all industrial metal prices shoot up. क्योंकि अगर इकोनॉमी अच्छा कर रहा है, वॉर लाइक सिचुएशन नहीं है, तो एवरीथिंग इज बाउंड टू ग्रो. सो दैट गिव्स यू एन आइडिया टू इंटरप्रेट कि आपको बेस मेटल में क्या करना है, गोल्ड सिल्वर में क्या करना है.
Okay. So another question is that, is there any commodity option strategy builder to check a lot of strategies? So I can answer that. So we have a dedicated futures and options trading app called Options Trader by Dhan, where we have a dedicated dashboard for commodities, and we also have option chain specific to commodities, where you can directly buy and sell from the option chain. And soon we are coming up with pre-built strategies for commodities. So do check that out. Now the next question is, which are the commodities we can trade for short term?
देखिए शॉर्ट टर्म में crude oil, NG, these are highly volatile. Okay, so if you can really want to get into it, it's very important for you to define your risk. आपको पता होना चाहिए कि अगर आप ऑप्शंस में एंटर कर रहे हो, एनजी के ऑप्शंस में, क्रूड ऑयल के ऑप्शंस में, तो आपका रिस्क रिवॉर्ड बहुत हाई होता है और उसमें मूवमेंट बहुत ज्यादा रहता है शॉर्ट टर्म में, क्योंकि वोलेटिलिटी ज्यादा है, सो यू कैन एग्जिट इवन इन 5 minutes 10 minutes योर ट्रेड्स, राइट? सो that you can always look at.
Another question, can we do long term investment in commodities?
Yes, you can, because अगर आप देखें तो आपके ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर्स या ग्रैंडफादर भी या ग्रैंडमदर, मोस्टली फादर से ज्यादा ग्रैंडमदर मदर ने गोल्ड खरीदा होगा और रखा होगा, और उन्होंने जिस भाव में खरीदा होगा और आज में बहुत फर्क होगा. सो इंडियंस, the two things they love is land and gold. So you can understand that that love for commodities is always there. And for certain commodities, you can invest for the long run, such as bullion, and other commodities which are cyclical in nature, like say crude or natural gas, for base metals, depending on the economic cycle, you can look at, understanding the cycles and then approaching them.
Yeah. Just to add to what Rishi has said, say आप अगर गोल्ड खरीदते हो, so as you mentioned about grandmothers and mothers, तो उस समय there was a concept of storing it at home. ठीक है, आज अगर आपको लगता है कि 100 grams गोल्ड खरीदना है and the value is say 5 lakhs, so the advantage on exchange platform is आप 10% मार्जिन दो और आपको जब लेना है तब आप लो. अगर आपको मैक्सिमम है कि रोल ओवर करना है, सो यू आर पेइंग 50,000 रुपीज एज अ मार्जिन फॉर एग्जांपल, और प्राइसेस बढ़ रहे हैं तो आप रोल ओवर करते जाओ. ओके, जिस दिन आपको डिलीवरी लेना है जिस मंथ में, उस मंथ में यू पे रिमेनिंग 4.5 लाख रुपीज एंड टेक डिलीवरी. सो इट सेव्स यू योर इंटरेस्ट ऑन योर कैपिटल, वो आप बचाते हो. सेकेंड एडवांटेज इज you are you don't have a storage risk buying it and keeping it at home or any vault. So long term mein you can use futures if you use it thoda sa usme intelligence laga ke aap kare to futures can be a great advantage for you if you want to buy bullions for long term.
In fact, to add to it, you can also do SIP in bullion. So for example, we have the one gram gold petal contract. That costs roughly 5,000 rupees. Anyone can, I think anyone who has a trading account and stuff like that could afford that. So you can do 1 gram a month SIP apna kar liya. It comes into demat. Once you collect all that gold, then you can convert it into an 8 gram coin. Once you have collected 8. Once you've collected, you've done that SIP, then you can convert into a 100 gram bar, and so on and so forth. And you can keep it in demat. And when you require it, if you've made it as a financial investment, of course, when the price goes up, you can sell it. Or if you want it for consumption, say, for example, when you have children, that time you start your SIP. When they grow up and the wedding comes, you can consolidate all your SIPs and then convert it into physical gold and take it out from the exchange and use it for the wedding, etc. So there are a lot of uses for doing this SIP in gold and silver, and you can get the benefit of both the worlds, whether you want a financialized demat investment or you want a physical asset. And now in the exchange, what we've also started is doorstep delivery of gold. So what we do is that anywhere in the country, at a certain nominal cost, the gold is delivered to your home or your doorstep.
Next question from Mr. Vikas. So he's asking that, do we get same margin benefit like index options or stock options if we do spreads and crude?
So at present in options in commodities, there is something called a short option minimum margin. So if you buy, say for example, 6,500 call and sell 6,600 call, ideally you'll have to pay margin on the sell fully because you will not get that 75% margin benefit. However, if you bought a crude call, I mean if you bought a crude futures and you sell a crude call, then you will get that margin benefit. So sorry, if you buy a crude option and then you sell a futures, you'll get that margin benefit. So, it's slightly different from what you have in equity markets. So this is a unique trait of commodity markets as of now. However, hopefully, as we go ahead, this would be also brought at par with equities, and then you will have that spread margin benefit in options in commodities, maybe down the line.
Okay, another question is, can exchange give a software for gold petal SIP and silver micro SIP wherein clients can select the installment date and rollover date which can automatically be traded similar to mutual fund SIPs?
So I think that's a good takeaway for Jay because exchange is just a trading platform. It does the front end you use is of the broker. So if the broker can integrate the SIP model into their front end, then you would be able to do it. Jay, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, that's a very good suggestion. I think we'll look into this. Yeah.
Awesome. Next question is that, where can you get the right news for natural gas?
See, there are few sites, So one is Forex Factory, and there is a site. If you Google it, you will find certain relevant data points for natural gas. So you can always refer that. So one important thing एक आप और भी देख सकते हो कि नेचुरल गैस इन्वेंट्री से एक दिन पहले क्रूड ऑयल इन्वेंट्री आता है. तो क्रूड ऑयल इन्वेंट्री में जो गैसोलीन का डेटा आता है दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. अगर वहां पे गैसोलीन के नंबर्स नेगेटिव हैं या पॉजिटिव हैं, so that gives you a fairly good idea कि next day inventory क्या आएगा natural gas का. So to track that data point, there is a site called forexfactory.com. You can refer that, and you can Google certain EIA का site है natural gas के ऊपर, वहाँ भी data रहता है, so that also you can look at.
Okay. Another question from Mr. Raj. So he's asking that, why do we see very unusual sharp moments in natural gas and crude?
See, both are highly sensitive commodities. और आज के time में when there is a war like scenario, there is a concern कि रशिया हो सकता है यूरोप को अगर नेचुरल गैस सप्लाई नहीं दे तो क्या होगा. ओके, एंड क्रूड थोड़ा सा पॉलिटिकली ड्रिवन कमोडिटी रहता है ओपेक के कारण. कभी भी अगर वॉर लाइक सिचुएशन है मिडिल ईस्ट में, सो यू विल फाइंड ऑलवेज क्रूड ऑयल इज द मोस्ट वॉलेटाइल वन. और पूरा लॉजिस्टिक्स, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, इवन industries in Europe, they all run on crude and natural gas. तो sensitivity towards information बहुत ज़्यादा रहता है, इसीलिए you see higher volatility in both these. Yeah, Shraddha, you can move.
Yeah. Next question. So it's like, can you launch metal index without nickel, and can you rework energy index expiry? Like it can be realigned to next month contract. And can we explore MCX Bulldex as inverse proxy for US dollar index?
Thanks for all the inputs. We'll definitely look into it.
Yeah, I think the last question is very good. कोई भी यहाँ पे अगर सुन भी रहा है ऑडियंस जो कमोडिटीज में ट्रेड करते हैं, सो आपका बुलियन जो इंडेक्स है that's a good proxy, I would say. अगर आपका से इफ यू टेक 2 ट्रेड्स इंडिविजुअली, अगर आप गोल्ड का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लेते हो, सिल्वर का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लेते हो, सो दोनों में मार्जिन्स अलग है. यू नीड टू ट्रैक 2 कमोडिटीज एट ए टाइम. ये आपका प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होता है बुलियन इंडेक्स के साथ. Okay, because in one index margin requirement कम है, you don't have to pay double margin, so that really helps. और अगर bullion is inversely related to US dollar, so as rightly said, अगर आपको dollar index लगता है कि नीचे जाएगा, तो you can buy bullion index and that can become a kind of hedge for dollar index.
Next question is, how do you convert silver on MCX to physical silver?
Very simple. When you buy the silver contract and then you hold till expiry, then you will get delivery. Once you get delivery in your demat account, you can opt for physical delivery also. So you can just place the intention through your broker and take physical delivery. However, you'll get the delivery in the basis delivery center, whichever it may be, and then you can take the delivery.
Shraddha, we can move to the next question.
Yeah. So next question is that, why crude oil lot size is same for many years, but in equity lot size varies often.
See, commodities are unique because globally they have certain traits. For example, for physical, say, food grains, the truck size is 10 tons. So normally if you see all the food grain contracts are 10 tons. So it is what the physical market trades rather than in equities, it's all financial, right? So it's only about money. But here, say for example, copper, the manufacturer packs the copper in 2.5 ton packages. So you cannot change it. Or for example, in aluminium, it comes in 1 ton packages. So you cannot change it. So that is why there are certain limitations of changing the contract size all the time.
Another question is, any views on base metal mini lots, like they are working uh, in future? Reason is the high margin requirement.
Sure. So we are seized of the matter and we are also talking to the regulator. If we get permission, we are all for launching mini contracts. And I hope that sooner than later we should see the reinstatement of mini contracts, subject to, of course, regulatory approvals.
Okay. Next up is, what is the risk credential in commodity market compared to the equity market?
See, commodities will not yield you as much as equities in the long run. And similarly, the risk in the long run in commodities is also lower than equities. That's my understanding. Jay, you want to chip in?
Yeah, I want to chip in. See, risk is entirely your call, right? So आप कितना risk appetite लेके market पे आते हो, ये आप पे depend करता है. Also, in any other asset class, you can also wipe your capital, you can make fortunes. There is a discipline which is required. वो हर asset class में involve होता है. In terms of risk, in terms of exchange के related कोई issue है या broker के related कोई issue है, वो आज के दिन में बहुत negligible है, because regulators have done an excellent job. The kind of measures they have taken both on the exchange side और broker के side में भी, तो वो आपका डिफॉल्ट रिस्क कम है. लेकिन कितना पैसा आप बना सकते हो मार्केट में, दैट अगेन इज एंटायरली योर कॉल. आप कितना रिस्क आप ले सकते हो और आपका एपेटाइट कितना है.
Another question is, how to find expected closing in silver options from analysis of an option chain?
अगर ये पता होता तो सब लोग ट्रेड ही करते जाए. आप बताइए.
हाँ, देखिए, एक्सपायरी थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है वैसे ट्रैक करना, क्योंकि इंटरनेशनल ट्रेडेड कमोडिटीज है और बहुत इवेंट पे डिपेंड करता है. स्पेशली आज के टाइम पे जब आप देख रहे हो डाउ जोन्स एक दिन नेगेटिव होता है, एक दिन ऊपर जा रहा है. एवरी सेकेंड डे यू हियर समथिंग और द अदर, चाहे वो रशिया यूक्रेन से हो, चाइना से हो, यूएस से हो. तो डिफिकल्ट है वैसे ट्रैक करना. बट ऑप्शन, आई थिंक आपका वो जजमेंट ग्रेजुअली आएगा. अगर आप मार्केट में बहुत टाइम स्पेंड किए हो और आपने साइकिल्स देखा है और डिफरेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स आपने ट्रेड किया है, तो यू स्टार्ट गेटिंग दैट फील कि वो किस तरह से स्टडी करना है. बट जस्ट टू पुट इट ऑन ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट, इट्स रियली टफ.
Another question is, when can FPIs participate in MCX?
Okay, so they've been allowed. Yesterday only the circular came out from SEBI that FPIs are now allowed to trade on commodities. Now, once the circulars come out, now we will go about trying to enable it, and hopefully sooner than later you will see the FPI participation also.
Another question is, what are the most traded assets in commodities?
So Rishi, you want to take?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the most traded is crude oil on MCX. After that, we see natural gas. In terms of options, I'm talking about. In futures, you see gold and silver. They also active in options, but less than crude and natural gas. Then we have the base metal pack. So we have aluminum, lead, copper, zinc, nickel. Of course, after the element debacle, the contracts are not trading much now. Hopefully, once things settle down, we'll see some traction there. In agri, we have cotton and we have mint oil. Uh, we had crude palm oil, a very vibrant contract, but that got suspended for some time by the government, along with other agricultural commodities. And hopefully, once the suspension is withdrawn, we will relaunch those contracts.
And we have one last question. So it is that, liquidity in commodities options is still very less. So can this affect squaring off of the trades?
I don't believe so because see, liquidity begets liquidity. And as I said in the beginning, last year we were doing 900 crores average a day. Last year we did around 8,000. This year we're doing 25,000 plus. And there are days when we've crossed 80,000 crores also. So there are a lot of liquid contracts. And if you focus on crude, which is the most liquid, and then on natural gas and then gold and silver also, I don't think liquidity should be such a big issue. Of course, naturally, I don't look at the screen as much as all of you might be. So you would be the better judge and take your call and enter. And you will seeing the screen, you could understand whether there's ample liquidity in the contract or not.
Awesome. So we are done with all the questions. Thank you so much, Rishi, for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you. And, I hope everyone enjoyed this session. And we will keep on doing more of these to, create awareness regarding the commodities market and getting, more people started with trading in commodities, which currently they find difficult.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of hand raises, Shraddha, if you can just check.
Yeah, one second. Are there any more questions? If you do have, then please drop it in the questions box. So we'll just wait for another 2 minutes, otherwise, we'll wrap up the session.
Yeah, yeah. So I think Rishi, in coming weeks we'll have more interest coming. The today's the kind of questions we have got were really insightful and we are overwhelmed. We answered almost close to 50 questions.
No, no, and very intelligent questions, very pertinent questions. So thank you all for asking such questions because it shows the rich understanding many people have, and those who are new to the market also, they were also asking very pertinent questions. So it shows the interest you have. So whether you are a newcomer or an experienced hand in these markets, your questions are always most welcome, and it's always a pleasure to talk to people and answer their questions because end of the day, it is all about awareness and knowledge. And the more we share, the more we grow.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. So thank you so much, Rishi, for taking your time out. Uh, I think we look forward to making this webinar series as a sought after platform where people come and get their queries resolved. So I think we'll be able to make a lot of difference in how the commodity participation is now and maybe 6 months down the line. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jay. Thanks, Shraddha, for having me here. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, audience.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Do check out the futures and options trading app by Dhan called Options Trader. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks. Bye.